Hello, we are in Flint, Michigan, airport, KFNT, and we are getting ready to go to Chicago, KORD, in JRollon's CRJ 200, Canadian Regional Jet 200. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice morning for a flight. And we're going to take a look at an updated checklist, a checklist that I downloaded that was a legacy checklist, and it was very complete and very well done, but it was a bit older, so it needed some updating to be done, and I added a few items for it. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started in the plane. All right, the first thing that we need to do for this plane is to open up the main door, which we can do from the outside since we're just starting up here. We flip the door open and come back inside and come up and turn on the battery master. All right, and then we can go down and put the pop-up for the FMS and click the MCDU menu. And then if we take a look out here, we connect the external power. All right, and then we can turn on the AC button and come down and turn off the master warning there. And it goes through. We'll turn the weather off, or make sure that it is off. Air-driven generator is down here, ADG, and it is stowed away. So we can click that off. Just a quick note while I'm going through here. I do have the letter N as in Nancy key assigned to next item for the checklist. You can assign any key that you want to if you want to make this a little bit quicker to go through the checklist. I try to automatically sense and the previous checklist did as well, automatically sense when a switch is thrown and stuff, but I can't catch quite everything. All right, fuel quantity. And go to the home charts. All right, now we know what, now we can go to flight and weight and balance. Hopefully this will work. Oh, it doesn't work. I can't scroll through here. Anyways, recommended fuel for this flight is 6466. So let's put in a couple thousand extra. So let's go to 9,000 pounds there. And for our payload, we are looking at 41 passengers, 0.1 cargo, payload of 9.5. So we drop the payload down, 9.5. So we got 49,000 pounds total weight there. Maximum is 53, so we're good there. All right. So we got fuel quantity done. IFR clearance. Now, we're not going to do IFR ATC stuff for this flight because we want to focus on going through the checklist. So we'll talk through it and mention it, but it is there if you're actually doing ATC work. And we take that load tracking client. So we've got our tracking client here for virtual UA, and we're going to go ahead and set that up. We've got 270 for our flight altitude. And we've got a pretty easy route here. So get that started. Okay, so we can get that and get credit for this flight. And come over here, press N again. Now we'll go ahead and close this for right now. We want to turn on our IRS for our navigation and turn on the yaw damper. And then come up and turn off the air conditioning and turn on 3A hydraulic pump. And now what we'll do is we're going to bring up our screen here for our status. That way we don't have to pop up and down quite so much, and zoom in here. So the next thing is to check hydraulics. So click on hydraulics. Hydraulics look good. Check that off. Fuel. That is looking good too. 45, got 9,000 pounds, so that is good. And then the next item is back to the status screen. And we're looking at 1,500 for oxygen, current temperature 13, rate. Okay, so we're good there. And overall instruments, we put that away. Everything is pretty well blank, and we've got no excitement there for the ICUS. All right, yoke and petals. We got petals, and we've got a yoke. Okay, so that is done. Annunciator lights, we flip that on, and go up to our overhead and check everything is lit up. Check the pedestal, we got everything lit up as well there. And then we turn our annunciator off there. So that takes care of that one there. We got our passengers loaded, our fuel is loaded, so we pop out and close our door, and then turn on our fasten seat belts and no smoking signs. Now the next thing we do is we pump up the screen again and come over here, our landing elevation, and I'm using Sim Toolkit Pro. Landing elevation for Chicago is 680 feet, so we dial that in. And let's see, there's 680, so we got that taken care of. Altimeter, local weather for Flint is 3013. So we come down here, and 3013, bring our barometer down. 3013 for our barometer, so that's taken care of. Now we want to initialize our FMS, so we go to index, position init. We are KFN, come on, NT, and that gives us our position, so we capture that and paste it down to our position. Then we go to flight plan, and we are going to KORD. All right, Chicago. We are SkyWest 3191, SKY 3191. And our first waypoint is Emma, EMMA. And our next waypoint is our star. So we execute that. Check our flight plan. We're done. Next page is good. Legs, that's it. It's pretty simple. Very quick flight. Hopefully it should be quick. And hopefully we will be successful. And let's go to our departure. We are departing on runway 9. No SID, so we execute there. And then departure arrival. Windy 2 is our star. Next page. Windy 2. And transition is VO. So let's see. Let's take a look if we need that or not. So we're coming into, there's the airport. We're VO. Here's VO, and we're coming in to Emma anyways. So VO looks like a good transition point for us. Sorry. And again, we're coming into 22 right. So that is right here. Okay. Oh, go previous page. ILS 22 right. ILS 22 right. All right, so then we execute that. Let's take a look at our legs. Little airplane pun. Okay, so VO is our transition point and ties into our star. Okay, so we execute that. And then we go down and we're lucked out. There is no other discontinuities, but we're leaving the star, let's see, that windy, and then flyer, and then from flyer, Ernie, and then Poppy, which is right there, and then tubes. And then, so there's nothing there actually for the approach. So we need to tie that in. So we need to, let's start at the closest one first, which would be Polly. And all right, P-A-L-I-E. Okay, and that ties that in. And then Ridge is before that. R-I-D. Sometimes it's, and then Nolan. Let's see, Ridge, Nolan. Oh, I got two ridges there. Polly to Ridge, previous page, next page, previous page. Oh, we're good. And then, so where's Ridge? Where did Nolan go? Previous page, Ridge. N-O-L-E-N. Oh. So Nolan is before Ridge. Okay, execute that. And then finish. Oh, we've got F-N-U-C-H. Nolan. Okay. So let's, I think we got everything, our connection there from the star and all that needs to be done. So let's get rid of this here, clean it up a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to hit exactly the right spot, especially if you're at an angle there. Now what we need to do is kind of walk through the flight plan. And so what we'll do, we'll bring this screen over here so that it's a little bit easier to see. And we'll bring our format. And I think, nope. And was that it? Okay, that is it. Okay, go back to the previous page and go off and back on. Okay, so Emma to Vio, Ditka, Wilter. It doesn't advance automatically to the next page. You got to click on next page and River, Peyton, Wendy, Flyer, Ernie. Next page. Let's bring our range in. Okay. Pappy, Tubes, and then we going around. Do we have two tubes? No? Tubes. Then Fanouche. And then back to Nolan. And Ridge. Previous page. Not certain where, let's see. Toggle tablet. There's Ridge. Ridge is supposed to be Polly, previous, Ridge, Nolan, Fanouche. And then Tubes is here. And then we got Pappy, Ernie, Flyer, Wendy, Peyton, River, Peyton River, and previous page, and to Wilter, Ditka, VIO, and then Emma. And then there's Flint. So we're all there. Well, this looks good. I don't know what's going on with our diagram that we've got, but I think we're good. Okay, so there's 9. Bring out on the there's Ernie. Pappy. Tubes. Okay. Ernie, Pappy, Tubes. And then we go to Nolan. So Nolan looks like it's farther out, and Fanouche. So that means that we skip. That comes in, that's coming out here. Okay, so Fanouche is on the straight in line. So we got Fanouche. That Tubby, Pappy, and Ernie. All right, execute that. So I think, don't know why Ridge is out. This ridge is obviously not the same ridge. So we can take poly and wipe that out. Whew. All right, this is interesting. Okay, previous page. That, I guess, simplifies it. And go backwards to the beginning. I think we've got it now. So runway 9, Emma, Bio, Ditka, Wilder, and Polly. Next page. And Polly takes us, so Ridge and Polly. Oh, Ridge is, we can't get to, but at Nolan and Fanouche we're in line, so that's fine. We'll be intercepting the ILS, and we just know that after Nolan we drop down to 2200, intercept the ILS, and then we can come on in. All right, well, that's a little bit more difficult than I was expecting. And let's see, go back on the format button and get this going here. So let's put that away and catch up with our checklist. So we initialize the flight plan, destination, put in the flight plan, initialize the FMS, I should say, departure and arrival, nav aids, radio. Let's see. We've got coming into Chicago, it's 111.3. I'm going to go ahead and enter that in and put that in for nav 1 and then switch this back to auto. Just as a little insurance, so it's easier for me to deal with that if need be, if there's any issues with the radio. Now again, we don't have an auto throttle on this plane, and so it's all going to be manual as it is. So once we get down and doing our descent and landing, there's not going to be a whole lot of room to do stuff. So you want to have as much stuff set up ahead of time as possible. Okay, so that takes care of the nav aids and radio. And then thrust limit. that is the performance. That's the only item for performance. Our current temperature outside is 3 degrees. Let me see if yeah, 3 degrees Celsius. And then that is for takeoff. Okay, so we got that set. And nav mode, we want it to have nav mode here. A little bit brighter there. Sorry. We want nav mode as GPS, so we switch that format. Nav source. Go the other direction. Okay, FMS for our navigation source. And then what we want to do here is, let's 49,000 for our weight. And we want to go and pick up our there we go. And flip. So this is one of the 3 manuals that are in there. There's a good checklist that's there. So if you're a PDF or paper kind of guy or person, then yeah, it's got all the information here. A ton of information for calculating a lot of the things here. And I've got short-term memory, sorry, or no short-term memory. We are dealing with 49,000. So 48, 49,604. Let's be a little bit on the cautious side here. And what we're going to do is set our V speeds with that, and our VT speed is 182. So that's right here. And we'll spin that up. Okay, 182. Now we'll also set, let's go ahead and set our speed here for our autopilot. And let's set it to 200, because we're not going to turn on the autopilot until we actually get up in the air and we've got things pretty much stabilized or so that's 200 is a good speed to do that. So let's kind of do both at the same time, as it's all related. Now let's switch over, and if we come down here and change this to V speeds, we've got 143. So V1, 143. Notice it says V1 down here and it's milling there. So we got select to VR is 145. Okay, and press the select, and we've got 154 for V2. So we're getting this all set up. Again, this is reference only. Doesn't really do anything other than give you some tick marks to work from. All right. Plan pushback. We are heading to runway 9. So go over here, airport. Here's where we are right here, and we're going to be going to runway 9. So let's go to better pushback. And it looks like we pretty much have to go straight back to give us room to negotiate here, and then head out from there. So
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
All right, let's put this away. Double check this. Better pushback. I'm not used to trying to do stuff on one screen. It's the best way to try to share this with you, but it also gives us a little bit, it gives me so let's delete that, and we'll come out over here where we should. And That should be good right there.
Grounded cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Okay, so flight director is on, and heading button, we're looking at 94 degrees, so I'm going to put that on there. We're looking over here and changing it over there. 98, 93, 94. 94 degrees, that matches the plan. And initial altitude, we don't have a SID that we worry about. And we're bidding in a bit of a stretch here. So we'll put this over here. And we will go to our, actually, since we're going west, it should be 28,000, not 27,000. My mistake. SimBrief had us going way too high for this short of a trip. And so I brought it down for the same flight, same altitude that it put us at from Chicago to Flint. And that was 27,000. Of course, that's going eastbound. So we're going to do 28,000 coming back. So that should work out fine. All right, so now we can close this stuff up and go up to the APU. And actually, I take that back. We're going to pop this up again so that we've got the status on here. If you go in real close, you can see when we press the power button, it does indent there. And then we press the start key, give it about 3 seconds, and we should see our APU here. And it's firing up. Okay, we've got availability for the APU. We can turn the generator on, and this is running okay. And then we can go ahead and disconnect our GPU, and we'll go ahead and use the MCDU and plane menu and disconnect or have them take the cart away for the GPU. Now we are ready to turn on our beacon and come up and turn our fuel boost pumps on, our gravity flow, and then the rest of the hydraulics get turned on, and ignition button A, and then we've got LCV and isolation, and then we come down here and we do another check, get our fuel button, double check that our fuel is looking really good with all that. We've got fuel going to the APU, and we're good there. Our status is good. All right, so we go back to the status screen, and we are ready for pushback, and we can start pushback. So better pushback and start
Grounded cockpit, tow is driving up.
All right, we will close that if I can hit the right spot, and bring up the engine menu. We will close that one. That's what we'll be working on next year. Come out here. Here comes our push. All right.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Still spitting rain out there a little bit in Flint, Michigan, but it's a pretty bright morning.
Winching strap and adapter in position. Release parking brake when ready to start pushback.
All right, we will release parking brake. Pushback and start. Let's get this moved over to the side so we can see what's going on. Got the cable there and everything.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
All right, let's go back to the overhead. We got an ignition already on instructions are to push the start button for the right engine, so we do that, and then we come down here. We monitor the N2 for it's at 20, so we can go up here and flip the cutoff switch and see this spin up here. Now, while watching this, we'll go ahead and come back up. We can actually go outside, and we see the engine spinning up here, so that is very, very cool. Back up to the top. We are pretty much stabilized here, so we turn the left engine on and come back down here, look it up. Once we get to 20, we will flip the cutoff switch, and again we can monitor this here. Okay, so now at this point we can go ahead and turn on generator 1 and generator 2, just to be on the safe side before we start flipping stuff off. We go and bring up the electrical.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Parking brake is set. Okay, so we've got
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
APU. We've got the AC bus 1 and 2 on the engines going, so it's looking good there. So we can go ahead and turn off our APU and press the APU start-stop button over on this side, and then we can click on the fuel button and then turn the APU and isolation valves on, our air conditioning packs on, whatever. And let's go ahead and get since it's rainy and a little bit on the
Tow
chilly
is
side.
disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have fun up there.
Prep the thrust adjusters. Transponder is on standby. Flaps. All right. Oh, and when we looked at the manual there, we all right. Actually, we chose flaps 1, which is 8 instead of 20. So just that's why we're not exactly following the instructions here. Okay, so we got the pin shown to us. So we'll flip the taxi lights off, on, and off. Flaps are done. We go down here, and we have electrical up, and that is looking good. So we check that off. We go over and pick environmental control. Environmental control is looking good as well. Flip back over to the status screen. Oxygen, we've got our landing elevation, and we're okay there. Trim and stabilizer, we are stabilizer is at 7, right in the green. Manual says that's good for our center of gravity. Instruments, looking good. We've got our heading set, we've got our speed set, but no autopilot, and so we're ready there. We'll go ahead and click our master caution. Flight instruments are good. We've said that. Request taxi, we are doing that. Go down and make sure that we still have rudders now that the pushback crew has worked on our plane. Weather radar is on, if I can find it, and taxi lights are already on. We'll go back up here and turn on our nav lights, and we're ready to taxi. So let's close this up and bring our tablet all right. I'm going to, now that we're going to be in the air, I'm going to put our head canceling headsets down so that we have a little bit better sound quality to deal with here. And we can go ahead and turn off our parking brakes, give our little fuel here, start moving forward. All right, here we go. Let's bring up the, we can monitor our speed a little bit better. A little bit easier to see what we're doing here. All right, now we want to go left down to the A. Taxiway A, here it is. And the last thing to bring up is this. So we have this all lined up. We're going to keep our taxi speeds on the straightaway at all right. ATC says we can go ahead and go. So we're going to do that. Anyways, taxi speeds. Started talking about that a little bit. From what I've read and stuff, appropriate taxi speeds around corners and stuff is around 15, 10 if it's a sharp corner, 25 or thereabouts for straightaways. So I try to keep it, in that neighborhood. Sometimes I creep up to 30 if I start talking and stuff and doing things. I think we're pretty much set here. We need to go down to Charlie 6 and make a left. And as I said, as I'm chattering, we are up to 37, so I'll slack off a little bit so we don't get any speeding tickets here in Flint, Michigan. Now, since we got our thrust limit set, get things set up here. That will be our next step, will be performance thrust limit. All right, we have arrived. We can close this up. Sorry about the nose. The nose. Okay, hold short. Strobe light is on. Landing lights are on. Taxi light is off. We want our radio to be on, and now we're ready to go. That was pretty quick. All right, we're stable at 53, so that's a good number to be stable at. We can take the runway, given ATC approval, of course, and just go ahead and bring the thrust up. All right, here we go, raining a little bit more. All right, getting close to our V speeds. We got one, and rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Bouncing around a little bit. Bring it down a little bit so we get a little bit more speed. Let's go ahead and press the speed button now. We're at 1,800 feet. I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and see what the autopilot will do, and we'll go ahead and move our speed up. Since we're stable, we can go ahead and bring our flaps up, bring our speed up to 220. And let's put our range up a little bit. And everything is good. Flaps are up. Let's go ahead and start moving back around to intercept our course and our first waypoint that we've got here. So let's look at the checklist while we're doing that. We contact the AC and tell them that we haven't made any divots on the runway. We'll hold off. Now let's see. Once we're past 5,000, then we can go ahead and move up to 250 for our target speed and keep moving our heading around. Doesn't take long before we hit our first point on the star. All right. Now let's see, we can go ahead and increase our speed once we get above 10,000. So landing lights off. Thrust limit, we can remove that. And that is hitting the delete key and there. Now we can go to the legs key. And previous page there. We're above 10,000 feet, so now we can crank our speed up to 290. So thrust limit is taken care of. Check that off. And then what we want to do is now we need to adjust the thrust to maintain 290 as we're doing our climb above the rain. Engines are looking good, so we're going to get rid of that so we have less clutter. There we go. Backing the thrust off a little bit so we get closer to 290 as we do our climb. Cabin differential pressure. Do a environmental control, ECS screen, bring it back up here. Everything looks good there. Check that off. At 18,000, we can go to standard pressure. Let's see, 2992. All right. So, and then after this, we hold 0.70 for our Mach. So 290 until we get up to 0.7, and then from there we maintain our speed to keep at Mach 90 as we continue to climb. Now what we can do, we can go ahead and switch to nav mode. So we can follow that down. And let's see, we'll need to be at excuse me. All right, we are in the stars. And our next altitude restriction or recommendation is not too much here. So the main thing is we want to be at 7,000 at Fanouche. And Fanouche, and see, that's 20, 30, 40, 50. So right when we get to river, we can go ahead and start our descent. Oh, we didn't stop at 2,800. How come? Not certain what went on there. Oh, bring our speed down. That's what happened. There's no auto thrust, so all right. Bring it down, 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 down. Pay attention, Jeff. Get so used to the airplanes that have more sophistication. And let's see, we were going to do altitude of 28,000. So let's go ahead and move that down. Vertical speed down. At least we're at Mach 7.5 now, so we got something down. This is such a short trip, I'm not going to worry about fastening seat belts. And engine instruments are looking good. Flight instruments are looking good other than our altitude. And get down here. Fuel quantity is good. Cabin pressure. We don't have anything to do until the real descent. It will get down to 27,000. Well, that's a good exercise, you know, when you're going through here. I like making lots of mistakes when I'm doing videos. That way people can see how to hopefully I try to fix some of this stuff. So at 28,000, now we accelerate, add thrust. And that brings the nose up. So we can manage there we go, and there's our speed at, let's see, speed, we want 0.75. You can add a little bit. Bring it, throttle back a little bit. Okay, now we're cruising at the right altitude. Yeah, let's see. That's probably the biggest thing about this plane, especially, you know, if you don't have to do, you know, be working on a video and stuff like that. And hopefully, I know I muted myself when I sneezed. Hopefully I didn't put that back out. Is that you have to actually fly the plane, and you have to kind of work. It's very similar to the Dash 8, the turboprop, where you have to manage maintaining your altitude and stuff. Now you can see it's extremely stable right now. We're staying at the correct altitude. I backed off on the throttle just a hair, so we're now I can just kind of touch it a little tiny bit, a little bit more, and then give it time. So we're actually, it's looking pretty good as far as maintaining. Now, what we need to do, Jeff, is our target altitude again is 7,000. So we need to drop that down as for here. So we need to drop 20,000 feet. And if my calculation in my head is correct, we should probably be doing that about Walter or thereabouts, or river. So we drop our range in so we can see a little bit better, and we can watch this here. So we're 20 miles, 20 nautical miles to Veal. And then Ditka, and then at Walter we can start dropping down. So let's go back over to our chart so we can see watch our progress. Almost as good as having a first officer, the aviator's tablet. All right, so let's start our descent information. We've got call the center and tell them that we're going to start our descent. Fasten seat belts. Now our target descent rate, I think I'm going to have to do more like 1,800 feet per minute. You can actually do a calculation here, and I don't know whether I've got it. I don't have it up. But anyways, probably 60 nautical miles or thereabouts. So hopefully I've got that. 15, 25, let's see, Walter, 9, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, so at Walter, we can start dropping down, and then we should be good. We are in altitude nav mode. Autopilot is on. We've got our target altitude of 7,000. We're going to do a descent rate of about 1,800 feet. And during that, we're going to try to monitor, try to hold 0.7 Mach until we get down to 290, and then 290 down to 10,000. 10,000, of course, we need to be at or below 250 knots. And then at 5,000, I'd like to be at about 190 or 200. So I'm going to put this clear over to the side, out of the way. And let's see. Now, I've been chatting. What do we've got here? Mach 7.72. So just give it a little bit more throttle. And again, the nice thing when you're doing this, once you have it pretty well stabilized like we had before, and we started talking and checking different things out, I mean, that it's a good situation where that's why you have a first officer to do some of this stuff. But it's once you get dialed in and let it run, let it fly for 5 minutes or so solid, you'll pretty much get those fluctuations out, and you can fly for 200, 300, 400 miles without worrying too much about it. This one here was a real short period of time between the time that we were stable at 0.75 and I started checking the charts and stuff like that, because this is such a short flight. All right, 0.744. I'm going to ease off on the throttle again, just a hair, so we're slow down the our speed increase. All right, last chance here. We're coming up to Walter, about 14 nautical miles. We've got double check here. We've got 7,000 target. We're at 27,000. I'm a little bit higher, faster than our target speed here, but other than that, we're good. So what we want to do is decrease our throttle and do a vertical speed to adjust that down to about 1,800 feet per minute. All right, 10 nautical miles from Walter. Let's go ahead and start getting stuff dialed in here. I'm going to back off a little bit. And I want the speed. Let's go ahead and put it in speed mode. And we want 290. Now just bringing the throttle back without doing the vertical speed, we're starting to drop down. And you see that we're down 1,300 feet per minute, 1,400. So now I want to increase the throttle. There's 1,700, 16. You just gotta play around with the throttle back and forth. More throttle brings the nose up, less throttle brings the nose down. So we bring it down. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to start a little bit earlier. I'm still new to this plane, and this gives me a chance to kind of play around with it before we get too far along. I can go several miles adjusting my throttle to get it dialed in and don't have to worry about overshooting the runway or something like that. All right, so 1,700 feet per minute. Hands off. I'm going to let it ride for a while. We're at 1.8. And this is flat, pretty flat ground here around Chicago. So I'm not too worried about coming in at our target altitude of 7,000 feet a little bit early. It's not like we're going to hit a mountain or anything. All right, it kind of looks like we're stabilized at about 1.6. And we are back off the throttle just a little bit more. A little bit different. I've done this here as well. We're 0.75 down until 290. It's a little bit coming in towards the lake. I'm going to go ahead and turn our landing lights and our taxi lights on kind of as much as possible. Light us up. It's a little bit early, but that's okay. I don't think it's going to hurt. Okay, let's make sure that we haven't done anything crazy. Wanted to get a picture of that. All right, we're still at 190.63. One point six, 1,600. Going to back off on the throttle again. All right, save that picture. Okay, let's take a look at the weather in Chicago is 2992 for altimeter. So we're good for our altimeter. Winds are 170 degrees at 8 knots, so not too bad there. We got that. We're set. We just need to monitor for flight level 10,000 to be to decrease our speed down to 250. It is a pretty morning over the lake here. Nice fluffy white clouds coming into Chicago from the east. And our target, let's do a refresher here. Finish at 7,000 and let's see, about 30 miles, 30 nautical miles away. 7,000 feet in 30 nautical miles at 2,000 feet a minute. It should be good. Matter of fact, we got a line right here indicating that we should be down to 7,000 feet, halfway between Fire and Fanouche, which sounds good to me. That's better than trying to fight the plane and doing a last-minute dive in order to get to the airport. All right, 13,600. We're going to have to start thinking about dropping our speed down to 250. And then immediately after Fanouche at Nolan, we want to be at 5,000, and we want to speed around 190 to 200. Given that, I think I'm going to start dropping my speed down a little bit now. Bring our throttles down. Throttles are at idle, so I'm going to bring them up a little bit. And we're hitting the rain again and coming towards Chicago. So, as a reminder, this is the JRollon Canada Regional Jet 200, originally built for X-Plane 9, updated for probably 10, and I know it was updated for 11. There's been some conversation by JRollon about doing a version 2. So, I mean, it's got a great foundation, and one of the things I've been really disappointed in for X-Plane is the number of old planes that haven't been updated for a long time. You know, there's a lot of new things with the PBR and X-Plane 1150 and 1150 that be nice to, you know, have some of this to take advantage of. Okay, quit chattering, Jeff. We are now at below 10,000, and we need to drop our speed to 250 or below. And the throttles are idle still, so we'll do 240. We're still dropping at 1,400, 500, and we're looking good. We'll be there. We can give it a little bit of thrust here. Once we get to 7,000, we can drop our speed a little bit more, closer to 220, while we're level and before we start our descent into Nolan. We have ILS sensed there, so that is good news. We will get some guidance. Again, there's no auto thrust, so we still got to do work for a. And I may be doing something wrong here. I'm not. But regardless, we'll have some guidance at least coming into the airport for ILS. And if we bring this up here, we should be, there we coming in. All right, bring up the throttle a little bit. We are 5 nautical miles from Fanouche. I'll go ahead and drop our speed to 220. And throttle back to idle. All right, so Nolan, we need an altitude of 5,000. So we bring our altitude to 5,000. And click on speed. And we can start dropping our speed down a little bit more. So we get in the 190 to 200 range by the time we get to Nolan. And let's bring our range okay, let's go 20 and bring our speed down a little bit more. So We are idle. And we'll be at 200 just before Nolan, so that looks good. We can drop our speed just a hair more. So this is good in that we are looking at, we'll be leveling off at Nolan. And at that point, we can go ahead and intercept the ILS glide slope. We're lit up there. Well, actually, it says 2200 for ridge. So that is our next. We want 2200 to intercept the official glide slope. So there's 2200. And we're at speed. Drop down a little bit more. All right. Now, okay, let's see. We are at altitude, navigated radio, decision height. We've got this, okay, speed. Established less than 190. Okay, 190, fine. Doesn't like that. All right, flaps 1 or 8 at 15 nautical miles. We're doing 8, not 20, so we'll go ahead and skip that. We need our, well, actually, I take that back. Flaps, that is for the, so we go ahead and do flaps at 20 and 180 at the green bar. Now, do we see the airport? Nope, not yet. I see a light blinking, I thought. All right, so now we got to pay attention to our, we want 2,200 to, at 2,200 to level off and intercept our glide slope. And then we can go on to the next step as far as the next set of flaps. But when we level off, our speed's going to drop off. And so we don't want it to drop off too much. So I'm going to start increasing the throttle here so we can level off and be stable here. I see the airport. All right, ease off a little bit on the throttle. And bring our range down a little bit more. Back off on the throttle a little bit. All right, drop the speed down to 160. Flaps 3. ILS is not live yet, but let's go ahead and put approach mode on. And we can follow the glide slope in. We're almost down to 160, so we're going to have to watch that and make sure we don't. We can actually drop it down to 150. Okay, our ILS is active, flaps full, gear down. Now we're going to increase our speed here, or our throttle rather. We don't want to get below our autopilot off. and start our final descent into the airport. Chicago, here we come. And we're up a little high. Back off on the throttle so we can get back down to our landing speed. All right, we can bring it up a little bit now. That'll bleed off the speed. More thrust then. And we're a little low. All right, got the glide slope again. All right, then we go. All right, yeah, reverse. Okay. Turn reversers off, flaps up, spoilers up. And autopilot's disconnected. Across the runway, ATC says fine. We've landed, taxi to gate, transponder standby. Strobe is off. Taxi lights on. Strobe is off. And we can go up here and turn on the APU. Turn off some of this stuff. Okay. Probably missing. I got the previous page and I think I went taxi lights on, so that should be all done. Taxi light is on. Oh, that got turned off. All right. And basically, there's some shutdown information on the checklist. So we'll not taxi to gate. Well, fortunately, I think I'm probably better in editing the checklist than some of the flying, but at least we made it. We made it in one piece. The wings are still attached. My plane at the gate, close enough. We even got to see a little bit of rain. All right. All right. Now we can turn the generator on, double check that it is, where's our electric? Oh, APU isn't, yeah, generator is Gen 1, Gen 2. Where's our status? Status. Oh, our APU is not on. I thought I had turned it on.
Unable to find view ID 1.
All right. Well, then given that, let's bring up our MCDU menu, plain menu, and give us our external power. Get that in. Now we can go up and shut off our engines. Come over here and turn that off. Radar weather off. And fuel boost pumps off. Okay. Fasten seat belts. I thought I turned the fasten seat belts off. All right. Main door is open now, so we can go outside and pop that open. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Air conditioning packs are off. Anti-ice probes, so we can get everything else there turned off. And hydraulic pumps, we can shut them off. Beacon, nav, taxi light is off. And then battery master is off. We are done. We've gone through the checklist A through Z. Landing items, I kind of went through pretty fast and skipped over because I was busy actually landing, which you'll find that probably happens too. Worst cases, you can always pause it if you need to look through the checklist and kind of refresh your memory and see how to do it. If you like it, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. You can download the checklist on the link that I've got down below at explain.org. And I hope that you enjoyed it again and have a good day.